Welcome back, everybody. This episode, we're going to talk all about junk wax. So we're going to start with, what is junk wax? Well, do you have a 1990 Donruss red card of any baseball player? Do you have a Pro Set 1990 football card of any player? Do you have, basketball wasn't as much junk, but still overprinted. But yeah, do you have any 1990 Hoops Jordans or Birds or any of those cards? Yeah, you probably got 100 of them. Junk wax printed, all sports, hockey included, from 1987 to 1994. So in that time frame, the sports card manufacturers really did something that nobody liked, and they kind of didn't tell us, and we had to figure it out. So what happened was they realized that the baseball card, sports card industries were getting extremely hot, extremely popular. Everybody wanted to get their hands on some, and that's kind of like right now, but we'll talk about why right now is different. So the card manufacturers started printing more when they knew that they could sell it, supply and demand, right? But what that does is it incredibly devalues any copy of any major Hall of Famer, star, rookie, etc. that got released during those years. So you might have, 100 Michael Jordans from the early 90s, but nobody really cares because everybody's kind of got those. The inserts are still special, the numbered cards, the refractors. I mean, a lot of that stuff didn't even start till the mid-90s. So that was part of the lesson that they learned too, is that people don't want a million copies of every card because they're not worth anything then. So junk wax is every brand, basically. Topps mostly, I would say. Score, those were huge overprints. Donruss. All the manufacturers were kind of getting in on this because they saw the trend, they saw the sales, and they said, how do we make more money? And that's basically what happened. So everything became oversaturated, and everybody realized that they had, 45 upper deck rookie cards of Ken Griffey Jr. Now, Ken Griffey Jr. was good enough that his PSA 10 or BGS 10 or any of the great grading companies of an 89 upper deck for Ken Griffey, which is his rookie, they'd call it the more rare one, I think, of all of them, because upper deck probably didn't go as nuts on printing, but still they printed a lot. The card is now selling for, I think, right around $2,600 to $3,000 right now for that upper deck Ken Griffey Jr., but it has to be perfect. Nobody wants a non-perfect one because everybody's got a bunch of them already. So, I buy collections sometimes, and I buy from, random Facebook posts and things like that. And I would tell you that if you're sitting on a ton of junk wax and you think it's worth more than a couple $100, you're wrong. Because the time and the opportunity cost for someone to go through it all, send it in, get it graded, and then post it and go do all the stuff, they're not going to pay you to put that work in, essentially. They're not going to pay you a whole lot anyway. So really, in the end, know what you have in your collection. If you've got a ton of junk wax, opened, unopened, sorted, it's exactly that. It's mostly junk, guys, and it's unfortunate. But there's still nice cards in there. If you can get a 10 of a Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco, any of the early junk wax baseball. If you get any Jordans that are 10s out of the junk wax, like the 90 Hoops I was talking about, or just about any card, as long as it's 10, you can get 50 to $150 and more for some of them. So the trick of it all is just knowing exactly what you're looking at, and don't go nuts on buying cards from the late 80s, early 90s, people. It's just not a great idea. With that, I'll close this off saying now we are in a different time period of collecting. The manufacturers know they've made that mistake in the past, and they are actually printing a little bit more right now, but they're not doing it anywhere near to the excessive level that they were doing it in the 90s. And what's really cool about today's cards, and this is actually the card I just did from the mail day clip. So this is like a Gavin Lux Baseball 2020 Prism, and yeah, they might have printed 4 million of these, but the one I bought is numbered to 100. Okay, so you can find and make or make sure that your collection has rarity or obscurity to it. And it's all by purchasing either the perfect 10 grade cards or numbered cards. You know, because you're looking at a time period again where the base cards are going to be printed probably more heavy than they've ever been done, because we are probably again once reaching the pinnacle of the collecting hobby. And if it plateaus and stays here for a while, wonderful. Could it fall down a little? Sure, it could. But there's so much excitement, so much activity in the hobby right now. It's truly amazing what's happening. So I don't think we're going to see a repeat at all of what happened in the 90s. As a matter of fact, I think they learned all the lessons they really needed to, and that's why they do make such short print cards, to just keep value inside of a player, or something that maybe there's a lot of examples of. The other thing too to check, you know, if you look, I'll close with this, sorry. If you look at PSA or BGS or SGC, if you look at any of their pop reports, go look at like 1990 Topps Frank Thomas, or 1990 Topps Ken Griffey, or Score, or any of those sets from the 90s. Just look at the pop reports on some of those cards, how many have been submitted for grades. You know, we look at a lot of pop reports. I see a lot of different cards going through. These junk wax era cards are some of the highest submission pops that exist, and that's just because there's so many cards, and the only way to make them worth money is when they're graded good. So that's this episode, about 7 minutes long on that, not too bad today. So in closing, let's hit the subscribe button. Let's like this video, watch all the rest of them, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.